Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. All right. Okay.
Where do you want that?
Just where you have it. Just, can you put your foot up? You want to put your foot on it? There you go. We just don't want that in front of your face. That's all. There you go. Yep, it's got to stay up. All right.
Shows you can still do what you're passionate about and what you love, no matter what.
No matter what. All right, so we have some fabulous questions. I've grouped some of them together that seem to kind of have the same flavor to them, and we'll just see how far we get. Okay.
Let's see how far we get.
So the first question is, what are sure signs that you are limiting your abundance prosperity? So do we treat for prosperity, financial abundance, or for specific things? How do we know that we are limiting our abundance or prosperity?
Well, the ways that I know that I can limit my abundance and prosperity is I witness my own thoughts. And when the thoughts are restricted or limiting, like there's certain words, can't, I can't, or enough, not enough, not possible. I believe that there's a voice that is placed inside of us. It's a trickster voice. And if I listen to that voice and move from that place, and that voice is a limiting voice in any shape, form, or fashion, that is one of the ways that I know I'm absolutely limiting my abundance and prosperity. Perhaps even a more powerful way of doing that is then what words and thoughts move through my mouth. What do I speak? Because when I speak those limiting words, they have more fuel and fire to them. What we tend to think is that, well, first of all, I think I am limited in any shape, form, or fashion. I've just done it. So I immediately go to the ground of all being, that which is God, Spirit, life itself, that what I know to be true about it. And I go right there first and foremost and says, well, is that true for Spirit? Is that true for life itself? Is there any possibility that this thing that I am intimate knowing about or believe is working in all of the cosmos and all the universe? Is that true for it? And resoundingly for me, the answer is no, it's not true. So then I go, well, then that's not true for me, because I am it. And that is where I think we get hooked in the myths and the lies the most. That there's some limitation to me when there's not. And we tend to hold money as something really weird. It's held differently than anything else in our lives, primarily. And it's not. It's the same current, the currency of life itself. So that's, I could talk about this for a long time. But
well, you have to find a pause so we can ask another question, because you just got to say, okay, that was a good answer for that amount, so it's good.
So I'll pause.
There you go. Just pause for a moment. We'll carry on with the next question. You'll have lots of opportunities to talk. So in alignment with what you just said, right? Mindset, which is a little bit of what you're talking about. I keep hearing that I must have a mindset to be prosperous. What mindset is that? And how does it correspond with prosperity?
So let me give an example. I live an abundant life. We all have our growing edges. Every single one of us has a topic that's a growing edge for us in our life. And I'm really grateful that mine is not around abundance and prosperity and money. I have my own other growing edges. So my first vocation, my primary vocation before this one, was sales and marketing. And I was a sales and marketing executive for 23 years. And within that career, I always had a salary and. Always had a salary and commission. So I learned through this that there is no limitation, there is no ceiling, there is no place where there's a maximum. What do I want to go for? What do I want the people that worked for me to go for, et cetera, et cetera. And I used that there was no limitation in that. There was a time during the recession when I came into Science of Mind in 2007, and the recession started in 2008. Remember that? 8, 9, and 10. And I used the Science of Mind principles to ensure that not only me, but everyone who worked for me didn't have any impact of that. I made more money than I've ever made in my life. When I became a minister and I was asked to come here, and Petra and the core council asked me to come, and I accepted the letter of call, and that salary was about what I made back in 1986. I had to watch my thoughts, because it started. For the first time in my life, I went, oh, I'm limited on my inflow, because I'm only getting a salary. I'm not on commission. If y'all want to work that, we can talk about that.
No, we can't.
You know?
We're a 501c3.
I'm just saying. And I had to immediately, I felt it creep in. It's our conscious thoughts, and do we start to believe them? And when we believe them and there's emotion behind it, it goes into our subconscious, and that is the motherboard that runs this, meaning you. It is the motherboard. And I watched it. I could see it when I got here. Well, that means, oh my God, I'm only making, what could be considered a very small amount compared to what I was used to. And I said, no, I cannot limit this, because I don't need to know. I am living a prosperous life, bar none. This is not changing. And I can tell you that I feel more prosperous than when I was in sales and marketing. I don't know how. It's like what Cheryl said. It just is. I've been a tither for over 25 years, and I do believe now I am so significantly prosperous because the unit, the married unit, so believes in tithing that there's no discussion. We just give as much as we can, way beyond tithing to this place, but to other places too. And we always, always, always have more than enough to do what we want to do in life. It's crazy. I can't figure it out, and I don't need to know how. But it started with me squishing. So whatever is coming into your consciousness about money or any kind of prosperity, prosperity in love, prosperity in relationships and work environments and people you work with, whatever it is, it's not just about money, but whatever it is, when you feel that moment that it's limiting that, and I felt it coming here, I said, no, this isn't true. Again, going back to it's not true about spirit. Spirit knows how to have more than enough. Just when you think the plant's going to die because it didn't have rain, rain comes. The plant doesn't sit there and go, I'm so scared, I'm so nervous, I have no idea, when's the rain going to come? It just is. And just in time sometimes it floods. But there's always more than enough. This is how life works. We limit that thought when we look at a bank account or whatever it is. And so that's the thought process. That's the consciousness. And when one does this enough, it's not a quick fix. I took every class I could in this. If you're not in classes, there's no quick fix to this. Sunday morning won't get you done. I don't think. Though, try it. But it's over and over and over. And then when that happens about this thing called money, prosperity, abundance, one, you become a living example of that for other people in your life. And two, now you can place your attention on something else. I no longer I've moved through that potentiality of me not having a prosperous life anymore because I chose a different vocation that I love. And I am more prosperous now than I've ever been in my life. Go figure. Okay, I'm to pause.
Good.
I hope this is helpful.
So in creating this mindset, right, and saying no to the limitation, are there physical items that you use, if any, when doing manifestation and spiritual mind treatment, like vision boards or the use of cash put up somewhere? And if so, where do you place these material items?
I love that. You know, I think we can choose to use it all, and unless we try some of this stuff, we don't know. I used a vision board for many years. It was something that I got to do when I went into the Science Mind community in Oakland. Just like the Unexpected Income Club has vision board workshops here. They're quite popular. I know why. And I would make vision boards, and I would place it where I would see it. I have little smaller things now, like on our refrigerator, but there was all this stuff on the vision board, and I would look at that. And it's a way of not only visually, but it's that type of thing that you're just reminded. You're reminded what you want, what you're going for, and you're just seeing that all the time, and you're getting an entire sense, and it's all about within me. Anything that will help you know that within you, this is so real. It is so real. I am tasting the ice cream right here and right now, and then Reverend Patty brings me mint chocolate chip. It's to know within so much that this is so real. And so anything outside that can help us know within that this is so real, because so within, so without. So vision boards, and you place it wherever you're going to see it. Little sayings, things, wherever you want. Yes, I think money, we don't have the intimate relationship with it as much as we do anymore. So keep cash, just so you can touch it, you can feel it. How do you look at it? How do you honor it? Or I put all the faces the same way, pointing out, in my wallet, from large to small, whatever works for you. Write yourself $1 million check. Heck, that's what Drew Carey did. He went up to the top of the hill in Los Angeles, and he wrote himself a $10 million check. And he said, that's what I get for my movie. 5 years later, he had his first movie, and he made $10 million. Have you written yourself a check lately? Place it where you can see it. So any items, it's up to you. It's a personal thing, but you got to experiment and know. And if you feel something inside, you feel it's resonating, it's increasing something within you by doing this, you're on the right path. If it's flat or not at all, don't do a vision board. But if you won't know unless you try some of these things. So affirmations. This is a very key tool. I want you to feel inside yourself. When you say inside yourself, or actually you can say it out loud, either one, I don't care. I am wealthy. Just try that on. I am wealthy. I am wealthy. I am wealthy. And feel inside yourself if there's something, anything, one little cell in your body that goes, no, you're not. Really, I want you to feel it. So a mantra or affirmation, I am wealthy. Yes, I am, two most important words, what you put after it. I am wealthy. But if after you pick that affirmation and one cell in your body or one little thing goes, No, I'm not. Great. You're not there yet. Drop the I am. Now I want you to do wealthy. Go ahead. Try it. Wealthy. Wealthy. Some of you feel the difference? Do that. Wealthy. 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 Ad nauseum. Wealthy. 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 And do that before you go to sleep. And do it when you wake up. I promise you things will change. You'll get more wealthy, and then you can start going, I am wealthy. Oh, I am wealthy. And that will change it too. But if anything within you negates something, I am healthy, and you can't walk, you may negate, I don't feel so healthy. Healthy, 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 healthy. Things will change. Okay?
Great. All right. So I struggle with the idea of having enough if I tithe 10%. I want to, but can't quite commit. What can I do?
Yeah. Well, what I would say, a few things about that. It's a process. And you just start and do it however you want in that process, but you got to start. The problem is, unfortunately, there aren't good examples of a lot of things in this world. We here in this community do our utmost best to be a great example of what a spiritual community is and the spiritual principles that we teach, and we align with it. And that, right down to the penny. The unfortunate thing is many of us come from faith traditions where we heard about this thing called tithing. And then we were either in the community or heard stories about in communities where, yes, those pastors get a lot of money or this or that and the other or whatever it is. And then it's all of a sudden, all they want is my money. You feel that energy? And it's like, no. And it just, you know who that robs? You. Unfortunately, they're just bad examples. The great news is you're in a community that this is not a bad example. We are so in congruence. We take great care in the gifts that you give us and how we use them here.
Other spiritual community I've had the
Unlike
pleasure to be
any
connected
other
to.
spiritual community
So you
I've had the
start
pleasure
where
to
you
be
can,
connected
but you
to.
must start.
So you start where you
Kia
can,
Tillman
but you
is
must
a
start.
beautiful example, and there are many
Kia
like this.
Tillman is a
At some
beautiful
moment,
example, and there are
foundation
many like this.
students or someone
At some
hearing
moment,
this month or
foundation
whatever,
students
they
or
make-
someone
I
hearing
don't know
this
how they do
month
it,
or
just
whatever,
do it.
they
Wherever
make,
they are,
I don't know how
just
they do
say,
it, they just
"I'm
do
gonna
it.
tithe
Wherever they
10%.
are, they just say, I'm gonna tithe 10%. Now, your definition of what tithing 10% is doesn't matter. It's got to be your own definition. Is it gross? Is it net? Is it whatever? I think it's supposed to be a really big stretch.
When one gets there,
But
what
when
you're
one gets
saying
there,
to the universe
what
is,
you're saying
I
to the
trust,
universe
I have
is,
faith,
I
and am
trust,
committed
I have
to this
faith,
prosperous life
and
that
I
I'm
am
gonna
committed
lead.
to this
Because I
prosperous
trust it
life
so
that I'm
much,
going to lead.
I'm
Because
giving
I
it
trust
to
it
you
so much,
where I'm spiritually
I'm giving
fed.
it to you where I'm
Before I think about
spiritually
feeding
fed.
me. And what the
Before
universe
I think
says
about
is, "Oh,
feeding
you
me."
got more than
And what the
enough to feed
universe
you.
says is, oh, you've got more than enough to feed you.
So you start where you are. I started.
So you start where you are. I
I
started 25 so years ago, I did like 2%. Then I did 3%. Then I did 4%. And then I became the chair of the stewardship court at my church. Oh boy. And I went, oh no. So I went, I'm going to do 5%. But in 4 years,
I'll be at 10. I had it all
in
planned
4
out.
years, I'll be at 10. I had it all planned out.
God, I'll get there.
I did. Had it all planned out.
When I
God, I'll get there.
pledged 5%,
When I pledged 5%,
it was so funny. The next year, I made
it was so
half
funny.
of
The
what
next
I
year,
anticipated.
I made half of what I anticipated.
That's how that works.
Yeah, right?
I don't know, it just.
That's how that works.
It just so happened.
Well, I don't know. It just,
I
yeah, but just so happened, you know, I increased and I was at 5. But remember, it was going to take me 4 more years to get there. But I made half. But I kept that commitment. You know, I just gave what I said I was going to give. And at the end of the year,
I went,
when I looked at my taxes, I went, holy God, I'm at 10%.
I said, I'll never, I'm here. It's like.
I said, I'll never, I'm here. It's like when you get great health, don't back off that.
When I got there,
I'm suffering from that now. But when I got there, I promised myself, I will never back off this 10. In fact, it's much more than that now. It was the best decision I ever made in my life. You'll never know if this is one of the best ways to bring prosperity in your life or not unless you test it. If it works, keep doing it. If it doesn't, don't do it. That's what we say about everything. So make a plan. There might be a different plan than you expected, but just feel and give with joy and see what happens. And all of a sudden, things start happening. You get the raises or whatever. All of a sudden, your car didn't break down, and it might have. Or all of a sudden, a friend says, well, you want to go on this vacation with me, and I'm going to pay for you.
You know, things like that will start to happen.
What? You know, things like that will start to happen. And you will see that you have so much more than you could ever hope to have. Because you're saying, I do, when you give it first.
It's spiritual law.
That's how the law works.
Okay.
It's spiritual law, it's not human law. Okay.
All right, this might be the last question. When you have limited income and want to create prosperity, how do you do this? And the question that's similar, how can I manifest more money than my paycheck?
How do you manifest more money than your paycheck is?
How do you manifest more money than your paycheck is to believe absolutely that it's possible, that it's yours, that, you know, the thing that's in the spiritual economics class that I'm teaching, this is a big plug, starting Thursday night. You really want to be in that class. It's changed a lot of people's lives in this community by reading that book and taking that class. Eric Butterworth says,
the most valuable thing is an idea.
The most valuable thing is an idea.
Has ever occurred.
Everything that has ever occurred is an idea. Whoever came up with the idea of this is probably getting more than their paycheck.
And that's the most valuable
Everything is an idea. And that's the most valuable thing. It's worth millions. And so you can also start saying, I am infinite wisdom, infinite intelligence. All creative ideas are flowing through me right here and right now. Things that I've not ever thought about come to the surface, whatever. And you have an idea and you move on it. Or somebody else says, I got this great idea. And you go, that sounds like a good idea. Why don't we do this? You know, there are people now, it's never been conceived of. Do you know they get lots of likes on a daggum YouTube video and they're making $13,000 a month? Go figure. So there are all these ideas that are here. They're already here. So know that you can go way beyond your paycheck. You are life itself, the most infinite, intelligent thing that will ever be. And
so know that. And as Cheryl said,
so know that. And as Cheryl said, the paycheck is not your source. You can have as many. You have one source, but now you have many inlets as you can want. So just know that and believe that, and you will see things start to shift and change. Are we really done?
Okay. Why, you want to do another one? Sure, why not? Okay. So how is CSL Law Prosperity different from the Christian prosperity teachings, which seem like an idea of if you behave right, you will get paid right? And there is a similar question. Jesus never preached financial abundance, that money is God in action, but seek first the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God. Money and wealth was not preached in the Gospels. Likewise, Buddha, Dalai Lama, and all the great mystics never talked about or taught financial abundance, never talked about and taught financial abundance as part of God's plan. Money was not talked about, preached as bad or evil, but neither was it talked about as money is God in action. How do you justify that seeking financial abundance is deeply spiritual and is of God?
I love that.
Oh, well, I love that. Let's just start at you either believe this or you don't. It is the foundation of what we believe.
God
God is all there is.
is all there is.
God is all there is.
So, if that is true,
So, if that is
how
true,
can money be outside of God?
how can money be outside of God?
Jesus said the kingdom of heaven
Jesus
is within.
said the kingdom of heaven is within,
Heaven is here on earth.
that heaven is here on earth.
He didn't ever talk about any limitations.
He didn't ever
limit
talk about any
anything
limitations. He
within it.
didn't limit anything
His teachings have been
within that.
misconstrued.
His teachings have been misconstrued.
His teachings
Unfortunately.
have been, quote, man-made afterwards.
His teachings have been, quote, man-made afterwards, actually just by a
Included
few
in the
men.
gospel
It
and
was
what
determined
not.
what was included
Read
in the
of
gospel
Thomas.
and what was not. Read the Gospel of Thomas.
So it is
So
within
it is
the
within
universal realm of
the
things.
universal realm of things.
And so,
And so,
how could money be any
how
different
could
than air?
money
How can money
be any different than air?
water?
How can money be any different than water? How can money be any different than trees? How can money be any different than people? It can't. It is a materialized expression
It's
of
not
God.
outside of God.
It's not outside of
And
God.
this life on this little blue
And
marble
this
called planet
life
Earth, you have to
on
think,
this
is
little
a
blue marble
little
called planet Earth, you have to
in
think
the
this is a
cosmos
little
of life.
speck in the cosmos
So
of life.
Thing about
So
life
every
proves it
thing
is
about
abundant.
life
It's
proves
not poor.
it is
It
abundant.
doesn't.
It's not poor.
It's not a
It
pauper
doesn't.
in its life.
It's not a pauper in its
Some
life.
people believe I did it one time. That
Some
if I had a
people
lot of
believe
wealth,
I
would
did it
change
one
me.
time that
Because
if
I've
I had a
seen
lot of
examples
wealth,
people
it
with
would
a lot of
change
wealth
me.
that I don't
Because
particularly
I've seen
care about their
examples of
actions.
people with a lot of wealth that I don't particularly
And I
care
had to
about
get
their
real that
actions.
I would not change. I would just
And I
have a
had to
lot
get
more
real that
stuff
I would not
to give
change.
away
I would
to
just
do
have a lot
good
more
with, just
stuff
like I'm
to give
in
away
service
to
you.
do
It's
good
my
with,
energy.
just
It's
like
my
I'm
time.
in
It's
service
my
to you.
effort.
It's my
Money is
energy.
the
It's my
same
time.
thing.
It's
And I
my
want
effort. Money is the
these
same
conscious
thing.
people to
And I
have
want
so much
these conscious
money
people to have
it's
so
just the
much
current
money
of life.
to,
To
it's just
give
the
that
current
away.
of
Why would I
life
want
to
you to
give
have
that
less
away.
love
Why would
or
I
less
want you
peace?
to have less
So
love
why would I want
or
you
less
to have
peace?
less prosperity?
So why would I want you to have less
It's not outside
prosperity?
of it. It's within it.
It's not outside of it.
And
It's within
it's
it.
an exchange in which we can do
And it's
great,
an
great good.
exchange in which we can do great, great good
So I'm
with.
going to just tack on that a little
So
bit.
I'm going to just tack on that a little bit. It's always so interesting. It's because when some of the people that are listed in that question and in the in ancient traditions, money wasn't a big deal. It was a barter system. So they didn't talk about money because they were bartering. And they talked about abundance and prosperity in different ways. Abraham was promised the wealth of nations. He was promised that he would have prosperity like you can't believe. It absolutely is taught in the Christian church, even if it's not specifically taught in the Gospels, although Jesus references it over and over and over again. They just had a different definition of prosperity because they didn't use money the way that we do today. We also have a love-hate relationship with money. I think, as Karen said, we are perfectly willing to have everything be spiritual: our health, our relationships, our vocation, our work, our art, our creativity, our self-expression. Our cars and homes as expressions of our life, and then there's that thing called money. And so we focus on money specifically because it doesn't lie. You either have it or you don't. You're either manifesting it or you're not. It's easy to say, "Oh, I'm manifesting peace," and then have road rage that nobody sees, right? And it's easy to say, "Oh, I'm manifesting health," but always feel slightly under the weather, or Do you see what I'm saying? We can fool ourselves. And one of the powerful things about money is that you can't fool yourself because you can count
And it's
it.
either coming in, flowing in,
Right?
flowing out.
And it's either coming in, flowing in, and flowing out. You're either increasing what you're giving or you're not. There's no wiggle room when we talk about something as concrete as money, which is one of the other reasons why it scares us so much. Because there is no wiggle room. You're either tithing or you're not. You're either consistently doing the spiritual practice of giving and receiving, or you're not. And so we don't like to be hedged into a corner like that. We want to be able to say, well, and and I was following my guidance, and I was, and did all that good stuff. But when we talk about money and we talk about tithing, we're talking about a spiritual discipline. It is the spiritual discipline of having enough.
The spiritual discipline.
That's what tithing is. The spiritual discipline of having enough, which is beyond believing that I have enough. It is the act of having enough. It is a declaration of the spiritual principle that God serves. So when we do that, right, we're really participating in our own breaking the idea that somehow money is separate, outside of the realm of this oneness that Karen was talking about. And then the other piece of this is the piece that we often have to explore, I think. When we talk about prosperity and we talk about money, we do have to recognize that money isn't going to make us happy. Writing a $10 million check to ourselves and getting $10 million is not going to make us happy.
So we talk about money in the context of prosperity.
For us today, one of the ways in which you evidence prosperity is you have enough money to do the things you want to do. You can pay your rent, you can buy a commercial building, you can start a business, you can start an art studio, you have money to give away to the not-for-profits that matter to you, right? And yet prosperity is so much larger than that. And so sometimes I think the equation of money and prosperity is challenging. Because as Karen herself so beautifully stated, there's actually less money flowing in from a paycheck per se, and yet she's more prosperous. We travel, we've bought a cabin in the woods, we've done all kinds of things that are pretty astonishing given the amount of money that we actually have. And so prosperity, it's an opportunity for us to look at, as we look at this thing called money, what do we want with the money? What are we trying to do with the money? Why do we think that much money is going to make us happy? What kind of a quality of experience of life are we trying to have? I love the term financial freedom. Financial freedom, I want to have the freedom to do the things that are important to me, to give to those things that are important to me, to support those things that are important to me, and to feel as though I am free to express my life. In today's world, that does in fact include money. But I don't have to necessarily pay for everything that expresses who I am. Again, as Karen said, gifts and who knows what all, how that all shows up in lots and lots of different ways. And by pressing on money itself, we get to see two things: the ways in which we have a love-hate relationship with this currency of the one, and how much we believe something outside of us is going to make us happy. And how much we are creating a mindset of prosperity, of enoughness, of freedom, of joy, of the willingness to express it and the ability to share it, right? Because there is the key. If I do not believe I have enough, I cannot share.
It is the cornerstone.
Do you see?
Of knowing.
It is the cornerstone of knowing that I believe that I have enough of everything that I need, is because I have enough to share. I have enough to give. And so we can build that enoughness in practice. We practice it with our consistent spiritual giving. And again, as Karen said, start with where you are. The point is to start and to be committed to it. Right? So if it's 2%, it's 2% every single month without fail. And then it's 3% every single month without fail. Because that's the discipline. It's the discipline of, no, I actually believe I have enough. Okay, I'm a little scared. I believe I have okay, I'm a little worried. I believe I have enough. Do you see, that is the discipline. That's the practice. And how we begin to build a prosperous mindset. And then we start seeing, oh, wait, I do have enough. Wow, how did that work? Karen says she doesn't know how it works. Cheryl's like, she's more money, she's more free. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Because money is not a
It
thing of
is,
itself.
right? Because money is not a thing of itself. It is the currency of life in a form that we can see.
Is life
No
in a
different
form that we
than
can
this
see.
is life in a form that we can see. And the flower is life in a form that we can see, but we make money a boogeyman. And so we're making friends with it. And I know it kind of makes us a little boo, especially when we talk about church, and then it's like, oh, they want my money. Right? So so all of these things that get worked are grist for the spiritual mill.
Yeah, so let's be clear. What we want most is for you to
you give it away first. So
have so much belief and trust that you give it away first. So regardless, we want you to have the experience of how tithing will shift your life in a way that I know will blow your mind.
But what we want more
Now,
than anything is
we
for
would
you to
love
do
it if you give it here.
so
But
that
what
you
we
can
want more than
experience
anything is for you to do
how
it
the man falls from heaven,
so that you can
and the
experience
storehouse opens up, 'cause it's
how
already there. All of those
the manna
biblical
falls from
phrases
heaven,
are about
or,
that.
the storehouse
So that
opens
you
up
can
because it's already there.
experience
All
that,
of
so that
those
you-
biblical phrases are about
It's no
that.
different than we want
So
you
that
to
you
be in
can
an
experience
incredibly
that, so that
loving
we,
relationship, right?
it's
Or
no
whatever.
different
We
than
just
we
go
want
down
you
the
to
line
be in
able
an
to
incredibly
move
loving
about the cabin
relationship,
how you want.
right?
But you know
Or
what?
whatever. We can just go down the line to be able to move about the
cabin
cabin however you want. Because you know what? You could be a multi-millionaire, and if you're laying up in a hospital bed, doesn't matter how much money you have. So health and wholeness is important. So we want you to tithe for the experience of yourself. Give it wherever you want.
To do that, no different.
We'd
than
love
any
you to
other
give it here.
spiritual law
But
that we teach.
the primary thing is we want you to do that no different than any other spiritual law that we teach around here.
Yes, Andrew's gonna come on.
All right, so why don't we pray on this? Yes? Andrew's going to come up. I'm not going to step on
Walking
this.
my scooter.
Yes?
Let's do this.
Walking my scooter.
Thank you. Good.
Let's do this.
The ground of all being. Life itself.
The ground of all being.
This one love, this one power, this
Life
one
itself.
presence. It's all
This
that
one
is.
love, this one power, this
It's all
one
that it ever
presence.
has been, and all that
It's
it ever
all that
shall
it is.
be.
It's all that
Oh,
there ever
gosh.
has been, and they're all that there
It's
ever
the
shall
Alpha
be.
and Omega.
Oh my
This
gosh.
one life, this one power,
It's the Alpha and Omega.
knows how to
This one life, this one
give to
power.
itself for the sake of itself.
Knows how to unabashedly give to itself for the sake of itself,
as itself.
for the experience of the grandeur and the glory
It doesn't
as
limit
itself.
itself.
It doesn't hold back.
Unabashedly gives.
It doesn't limit itself.
And
It unabashedly gives.
all of life
And because
in its
it
various
unabashedly
forms,
gives
and
all of
its
life
matter,
in its various forms and all of its matter
from this galaxy
is present.
that exists.
From this
trillions of
galaxy
stars within this
that
galaxy
exists.
that we can
From the trillions of stars within this galaxy that wink in and out. And now it's known that there are trillions of galaxies that have trillions of stars within its galaxies. And within this particular one, there is this beautiful, life-giving, rich place called planet Earth, where there is an abundance of the diversity and the exquisiteness of life, from the cute little ant on the Serengeti
To the hummingbirds
Africa.
whose wings flash so fast.
to the hummingbirds whose wings flap so fast, to the mountain peaks and the rivers, and not one identical thumbprint. Each is a masterpiece in and of itself of this one life, of this one love. I came here, it said, he said, so that I might live an abundant life. The master teacher said, I came here so that I would live an abundant life. And greater things than me ye shall do. So this is the power, this is the presence, this is the love, and it is a life of abundance. There is no question of that. And as I know that this life is a life of abundance, I know that I am that I am. For I am the individualized expression of this one showing up so that it can have a conscious experience as me. And I'm the only me that will ever be. So why would I want to limit me? And what is true of me, it is true of you. For you are that as well.
Of the one mind, the Christ consciousness.
And so it's by the power and the authority of the one mind, the Christ consciousness, that which is, that I speak the word right here and right now. And I claim and I declare that every single person within the sound of this voice, and anyone that has ever been or shall be connected to this beloved community of love and inclusion, known as CSLDallas, that the storehouse doors are opened up, that the floodgates are released, that any false beliefs or any idea that money or anything to do with prosperity is outside of it, it's just dropped. It is released. For it is our divine birthright.
It is our divine birthright to live a full and rich.
It is our divine birthright to live a full and rich,
And so I know
abundant life.
that we each are touched with the giving and the receiving flow
And so I
of love.
know
We let loose.
that we
do
each
not
are
grasp.
touched
We do not
with the
hold
giving
on.
and the
So
receiving
we
flow of
open up
life.
in the
We let loose.
receivership of all
We
of
do
life,
not
and all
grasp.
that it has
We
to
do not
offer.
hold on.
And we
So we
give
open
back
up in the
all
receivership of
our
all of life
good.
and all that it has to
And all
offer.
that we have to
And we
offer.
give back
And as we let
all
loose,
of our
hold
good
on,
and all that we
life
have
lets
to
loose
offer.
through us.
And as
In
we
all
let
forms,
loose
in
and
all
not hold
shapes,
on, life
have to
lets
do
loose through us
with abundance.
in all the forms
And
and all the
abundance of
shapes
love, of peace,
that have to do
of
with
seeing one
abundance.
another,
An
of
abundance of
prosperity,
love,
of financial
of peace,
wealth,
of seeing one another,
of wholeness,
of prosperity, of
creativity,
financial wealth,
of ideas.
of health, of wholeness,
For this is
of creativity,
our life,
of ideas.
and so. And so
For
I
this
release
is
these words
our
into
life,
universal law.
and I claim it
I need not know
as
how,
so. And so I release these words into the universal
I'm
law.
living proof.
I need not know how,
Many of us are.
but I know this is so.
Who we
I'm
came
living
to
proof,
be.
as many of us are,
Individualized
that this
expression of
is
the one.
who we came
It'll
to
never
be.
come again.
This individualized expression of the
I'm
one.
grateful
It'll never come again.
to be that now. And so it is.
I'm grateful to be that now, and so it is. Thank you.